Welcome to the Cosmic Cafe Show, where the paranormal is normal. My name is Eric Brown, and I'll be your host and server. For today's daily special at the cafe, we are brewing up the question of why are the skies over Mexico so unfriendly? What is going on above the skies of Mexico? Why are UFOs closely following commercial and military airplanes? Is it even safe to fly over potentially unfriendly airspace in Mexico? Is this a phenomenon occurring throughout the world? To help us answer these questions today are Mr. Carlos Guzman, who is joining us from Mexico City, Mexico, via an internet connection. And here in studio with me today is Mr. Ruben Uriarte. Mr. Guzman's book, UFOs over Mexico, Encounters with Unidentified Aerial Phenomenon, is a revised, updated English translation of a classic work of UFO research, which is in Spanish, and I cannot pronounce it, and I much apologize, but my buddy Ruben here will be able to.
Ovnis y la aviación mexicana.
There we go. This was originally published in Spanish in 2001 and has never previously been available in English. Authors Guzman and Salazar are two of Mexico's most experienced and highly regarded UFO researchers, and for decades they have quietly conducted exhaustive research into their country's most remarkable UFO cases, especially encounters involving aviation. The authors have captured something of the excitement that comes from researching pilot and air traffic controller sightings, usually unusually strange aerial phenomenon. And so with all that said, which is a big mouthful for me today,
you did a great job, yeah.
is Mr. Carlos Guzman. Carlos, welcome to the cafe.
Hello, thank you very much for this invitation and for this opportunity.
Yes, and thank you for joining us from Mexico City, Mexico. You're actually our first international guest here on the Cosmic Cafe.
It's an honor. Thank you very much.
It's my honor as well. Trust me. And
that's great.
Again, welcome back. I guess we keep brewing up the good brew here because you keep coming back. It's like you've become a regular guest, regular patron.
So far, I mean, you've had some excellent guests, and so happy that we have Carlos here. And Carlos has a lot to share with our audience regarding the unusual phenomena of UFOs flying over the skies of Mexico.
Right, yeah. And so, as I mentioned, as we were introducing you, Carlos, I guess this was your original book that you can see. He's looking at it through the internet connection there, but this is your original book. And Ruben, who's here, is one of the two gentlemen that helped you translate it to English just recently. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, Eric.
All right. Well, we'll be showing the cover of your book here in a few minutes, but before we do that, I think we should just learn more about the book and the questions, and why don't you tell us a little bit more about it, Ruben?
The great work that both Carlos Guzman and Alfonso Salazar had did initially through their book, UFOs and Mexican Aviation is basically the translation.
Yeah.
I saw the great work, and I talked to Carlos, and Carlos was always interested in having it translated in English. And of course, I had talked to Noe Torres. I said, hey, this is a very, very important piece of work that we could possibly work with Carlos and Alfonso in translating it. And as it turned out, it goes over 5 to 6 decades of history of aviation encounters. And we also, with their cooperation, they allowed us to also add some of our research, since we do focus on crash retrievals.
Yeah.
And, oh, God, I mean, I'm just so thrilled of how the book has come together, and it's also educating the public of the great work that Carlos and Alfonso has done in terms of the UFO phenomenon in Mexico.
Right, right.
And as commented Ruben, the subject of the book is a chronological study of the most outstanding UFO sighting observed by the aeronautical personnel all over Mexico, especially in and around Mexico City, since the 40s to the present time.
Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. So
Carlos, I was just, with that, if you want to go and share with our audience the first slide of an encounter at many of these aircrafts.
Yes,
Yeah.
we present in our book many photographs that was taken here in Mexico. And as a matter of fact, I have to say thank you to Fausto Avaroa, who is the person who took that photograph that we insert in our book.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Should we bring up the first photograph for you?
Yes, could we please pass the first slide?
Great.
Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, we got the slide up.
Okay, well.
Yeah, can you explain that? It's the one with the jet and the, yeah.
Okay, in the meantime, as I tell you, the study is based on the official and unofficial UFO sighting report by airports, radar operators, tower controllers, air traffic pilot, of course, air traffic mechanic, and flight attendant. And well, we present a dozen of cases that are related with this kind of sighting. And
Wow.
we don't pretend that this is a scientific study. We don't pretend that. The only thing that we pretend is to show to all the people, to show to all the people who are interested in this subject, that here in Mexico happen many interesting cases about the UFOs and the aviation.
Okay. And how has that been received?
As Ruben commented before, the book that was written in Spanish but was very well accepted, and for that reason, our objective is that the book was translated to the English, and know the rest of the people that are interested around the world, because of course the English is more common than the Spanish,
Yes.
and know about these cases that happen here in Mexico.
So just curious, why are there so many UFOs over Mexico? I was talking to one of the people that work here at the studio, and I mentioned that you were going to be my guest tonight, and she actually asked me, she said, well, why are there so many? I mean, why Mexico? Why, you know, I mean, we have sightings here in America and such, but she just seemed really surprised, and I was like, you know, that is a really good question. Why is Mexico such a hot spot?
It's a very interesting question, and my answer is because here in Mexico, all the inhabitants are interested in see this kind of phenomenon. So many people around Mexico all days watch the sky, because many people ask me if I sometime in the past I have seen a UFO. But I have to say that no, I haven't seen an UFO. Why? Because I don't have time to see the sky. But other people that have the time to watch the sky, and they discover what happened in the sky. So there is no special kind of person that could see this kind of phenomenon. Any person that has 50 minutes per day and just watch the sky, I'm sure they could see a UFO. So it's not why in Mexico the country is because his people are interested in this phenomenon.
Yeah, exactly. As Carlos was saying, people are much more aware of the subject matter. They take it a lot more seriously than here in the United States. We're lagging behind in that.
So would you say it's not ridiculed as much as
exactly.
it is here?
Their media and the serious researchers, they really portray the phenomena with a lot more curiosity. So with that, of course, they see Carlos and a number of other researchers will receive various information of sightings over Mexico.
Excellent. Well, speaking of curiosity, I'm curious about some more of these slides you brought for us. So would you like to talk about slide number 2?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Well, the number 2, we call on your left hand, you can appreciate a bright sphere. And also, as I commented before, this photo was obtained here in Mexico City, in the north east of Mexico City. Probably we could see the next slide, the number 3.
Okay, they'll bring up slide number 3. Oh, they got it up for you.
Great, that's great.
Okay, and the number 3 is a very interesting photo because you could see almost in front of the jet a big oval UFO.
Yes.
And could we pass to number 4, please?
Sure. There we go. They got it up for you already.
Yeah, this is a photo of the TAN airline, and on the left hand of the photo, you could see a black dot below exactly of this TAN aircraft. And well, all the photos that we present in our book present a different form. Could we go to number 5, please?
Sure, they'll bring that up in a moment for you. So I'm curious while they're bringing, oh, okay, they already got it up. I'll save my question. Go ahead.
Well, in photo in number 5, we could see red UFO dot. You can see that the UFO are very near from the TAN aircraft, but you probably can appreciate that the dot is in color red.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of faint on the TV screen, but with the blow up, you can kind of see a tinge of red in there. So
good.
Yeah.
Could we pass to the photo number 6, please?
Well, I guess so. Since you said please. There we go.
That's Alfonso. That's a picture.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
Alfonso
Alfonso.
Salazar, yes.
It's right. In this photo, Alfonso Salazar, which is my co-author, this is a very opportunity photo that was taken behind him. You could see a very big rounded object crossing the sky. And it's important to mention that the photograph didn't see the object when he took the photo.
Oh.
Because the object passed very quickly. But Alfonso Salazar is standing very old Second World War plane.
Ah, okay.
The next slide, the number 7 slide, is a drawing. And this drawing represents the encounter of Carlos Antonio de los Santos with 3 UFOs. This is a very important case because it happened in May of 1975. And the importance of this case is that the 3 objects provoke that Carlos Antonio lost the control of the small plane. And the 3 objects was detected by the Centro Mexico, and this is a very famous case that I think that Ruben could explain in more detail.
Well, Carlos, I wanted to ask you, because we're seeing these 3 objects around a small airplane. What are the dangers to the pilot? What are the dangers to a airplane when objects are coming close to an airplane in flight? What can you tell us? What could happen?
Well, here is a very important aspect, because some organizations that are in the United States are very aware that this phenomenon could, in some cases, could affect the flight, the normal flight of the air commercial or military or civil plane. So that's why we are interested in to show to the rest of the world that this is a very serious matter, because this object could interfere with the function of the plane.
Yes.
And in this case of the Carlos Antonio de los Santos, they lose the control of the small plane when he was back into Mexico International Airport. And for 18 minutes, they lost the control of his small plane.
He had no control of his airplane, basically, for 18 minutes.
Because he was surrounded by the three of
Yeah, they were, and if I recall, this is a very fascinating case that happened in 1975, that in May, one of the objects that's under, if we can go back to the slide.
Slide number 7?
Slide number 7.
Okay.
And then it'll show that the bottom, the UFO was underneath the fuselage. It actually struck the airplane, and Carlos de los Santos was calling the air traffic controllers, saying, "Hey, I have no control of my instrumentation," and for 18 minutes they were raising the airplane to a higher elevation, where his concern was his airplane is not equipped for flying a higher elevation. He didn't have the oxygen for that. So there was he was concerned of asphyxiation for lack of oxygen. It's a great case that Carlos Guzman had worked very closely with Carlos de los Santos.
Yeah.
Carlos, we have another slide. If it's okay, if we could show the public the frontal view of the slide number 8.
Slide number 8. Yeah, they can get
Yes,
that up.
this is also the number 8, the case of case of Carlos Antonio de los Santos, and the experience is that they told us that one of the objects was situated on the left wing of his plane, and the other object was situated on the right hand. And a third object came directly in front of his plane, and the 3 objects go with him in about 18 minutes from Tequesquitengo. Tequesquitengo is a place very near to Cuernavaca. And well, you know that Cuernavaca is very close to Mexico City. Well, when he was backing from Zihuatanejo, he has to pass to Tequesquitengo and then turn to the Mexico City. Exactly at that point, they feel the sensation that something was watching him, and they they discovered that one of these UFO was in his left hand, and exactly at the same time they turned to his right side and discovered the other object. They discovered the object with oval in oval shape and with a dark gray color.
Gray color.
Wow.
Yes, and they say that he said that also he saw a glass windshield, but dark. That's the impression that he relates to us. And at that time, the magnetic compass of his plane start to moving in a crazy way. And for 18 minutes from Tequesquitengo to the boundaries of the Mexico City, they feel very nervous. He cried. He cried, and he required to the control tower that he help him. He sent the message, the international message, Mayday, Mayday, because he can control his plane. And this is an important case because we have of course, the testimony of Carlos Antonio, but also the radar of the international airport, or the Mexico City International Airport, detected the object.
Oh,
And
really?
Yeah, they did. So as Carlos was explaining, that
Yeah.
the Mexico City's air traffic control towers, they were able to see not only the airplane on
Yeah.
their radar, but also the three objects that were around it.
Wow.
Fascinating.
And that's still available? That radar is?
We have what Carlos has also available is the sound clip.
Oh, yeah.
We have a 39 seconds, but it's
Yeah.
an 18-minute ordeal. But as Carlos Guzman had mentioned, the pilot was very emotional. He was crying, and so Carlos, would it be okay? We can go ahead and move to the sound clip and see how.
Well, before we do that, just to make sure they get that ready,
Okay.
I just have a question. It just kind of popped in my mind about this, Carlos, if you don't mind me asking, is did the pilot have like a sense or a feeling of why the UFOs were doing it? It's not like an everyday occurrence that 3 UFOs just cluster around an airplane. So, I mean, does he feel like they did it to protect him from something that might have happened to him and his craft? Were they shielding him from something, or did they purposely take him someplace by disabling his aircraft, take him someplace so that he could, be safe? Or, did he ever detect that there might have been a particular reason why they chose him to do what they did?
no, this is a very interesting question that many persons have asked.
Nuts, I'm not the first.
What was the purpose?
We don't have the answer. Also, Carlos Antonio de los Santos, he asked one time and many times, what happened to him? And he didn't have the answer. And what we think is that any kind of pilot could live an experience like this. It's an exceptional, of course, it's exceptional, but the answer, we don't have it.
Oh, okay. Okay, so there's just really no answer. So I was just told by our floor director that actually we do have the audio clip ready. So I think now's a good time.
Yeah.
Go ahead and play it.
That's chilling. I mean, because I understand the pilot, he's in distress, but
Maybe you can kind of briefly translate for.
Well, Carlos, correct me if I'm wrong.
Book, right?
Yeah, it's in the book, but he was just basically telling the air traffic controllers that he has 3 unidentified aircraft surrounding his airplane, and that he has no control of his airplane.
Wow. Now, speaking of the English translation, because as we mentioned, this was the original one from 2001, and so you translate it, and we actually have a picture of the new book that's going to.
Yeah.
Is it out now? Or?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So can we bring up the slide of the book cover? There we go. UFOs over Mexico, and so of course you can get more information on that at Roswell Books, right?
Yes. Go to roswellbooks.com or on the internet as well at.
I also have a link to all the show guests and their websites on the CosmicCafeShow.com, so viewers can certainly go there as well. But yeah, so
again, this is a phenomena that's happening all over the world. It's just that we're very, very, very happy that working with Carlos Guzman and Alfonso Salazar to show what. The amount of reports that have been experienced by pilots, and so hopefully the aviation community and the general public will take more focus on the examples of what is happening in our skies of the United States as well as in the skies of Mexico.
Well, I know we only have about 2 minutes left, so I do have a quick question, though, since I have both of you here. Maybe you or Carlos can answer this question. My question is would you say that Mexico's government is much more lenient about UFO research and not grabbing up, like, because I was kind of surprised that when you mentioned that the air traffic control radar information is available, because it seems like here in America, anytime something like that happens, it suddenly disappears, quote unquote.
Yeah, Carlos, perhaps you would be the best expert to answer that question.
Let me try to answer. Well, here in Mexico, all the information that you find in our book is, as I commented, official and unofficial.
Okay.
And a lot of cases that we related came directly from the pilot that we know. But here in Mexico, the pilots have the order that not to speak about this phenomenon. So unfortunately, here in Mexico, the authorities, the government authority, the private authority, are not interested in this phenomenon. Oh. The current people, yes, they are interested, but the government are not interested in this phenomenon.
Oh, so it is kind of similar to here.
Yes, and what's interesting, there are attempts from Carlos Guzman and Alfonso Salazar to put pressure on the Mexican government to disclose these cases even further.
Well, we're down to our last minute, so any last comments, Carlos, that you would like to make before we let you go? We got about 30 seconds for you.
First of all, I want to say thank you very much for this opportunity, and all the person that could be interested in my book.
Oh, it seems like his Skype internet.
Well, the name of the book is UFOs over Mexico.
Yes.
And by Carlos Guzman and Alfonso Salazar.
Okay, well, we're going to have to wrap with that. Thank you very much, Carlos, for joining us from Mexico City, Mexico. Thank you again for tuning in. Ruben, thank you for stopping by the cafe again.
Absolutely.
Always a pleasure. Thanks again for tuning in to watch the show, and really do appreciate you watching. You want to learn more about Carlos or any of the other guests, go to cosmiccafeshow.com, and I think that does it for us this time. I'm hearing music, so it must be time.